Hey there, guys. Welcome back to a brand new Flick Pick live show. Grab some popcorn and something cold to drink. This is it. Don't get scared. Today, the main thing I want to talk about, and before we dive into it, my question to you guys is, what are some of your most anticipated movies of 2023? It's here. It's weird to say. I'm not even processing 2022 yet, but somehow we're in 2023. I don't know what's happening, but yeah, what are some of your most anticipated movies of 2023? What do you guys want to see? And that's what I want to cover very quickly as the main topic of this live show today. And then we'll dive into the questions and talk about whatever you guys want to talk about as usual. But yeah, I put a list here on the screen. Now, this isn't every movie I want to see in 2023. I just wanted to highlight some of the big IP properties coming out because let's face it, that's all we're getting nowadays that come to theaters. It's sequels of sequels, the fourth movie of a franchise, or a big IP that everyone knows the title or the name of. For example, the Barbie movie, which oddly enough, I am really looking forward to that movie. But yeah, let's just quickly break down some of these movies and feel free to chime in along the way, guys, and let me know what you guys want to see. But the first one is Megan. Now, when it comes to the movie Megan, I did see this last night. I had to drive 2 hours away to Indianapolis and see an early screening of the movie. But the movie's out today, so you can go check it out or drive 5 minutes away. Unlike me, but I'm a weirdo. But when it comes to this movie, I enjoyed it. The thing I can say to praise this film is it's sort of like Terminator meets Child's Play, and it's self-aware, and it's effective. Yes, it's a PG-13 horror film. Typically, that feels like a cash grab at best, especially when it comes out in January, the place where movies go to die. But this movie is exactly what you think it is. The trailers don't lie to you. It's marketed exactly what it is. It's 90 minutes long. You're in, you're out. And I actually enjoyed it. Is it perfect? No, but it's self-aware. And that, to me, justifies some of the things they do in this film for the sake of entertainment. And I enjoyed it. I definitely enjoyed it more than that last Child's Play movie we got a few years ago. I will say that. And I thought the creepy female version of Chucky, Megan in this film, was entertaining to watch. I enjoyed the take that they went with the movie. It does definitely have like a Terminator Protector vibe to it ever so slightly, which I thought was something different. It's not phenomenal. I think it'll do well on Netflix in a couple months when it comes out, but either way, I will have a full-fledged review of Megan tomorrow. The next one we have is Quantumania, coming out February 17th. Now, when it comes to the Ant-Man movies, I've never really loved them. Like the first Ant-Man film, I thought it was good. I'm a big Paul Rudd fan. The man never ages. And I really did enjoy the comedic aspect of the train fight, big epic climax sequence at the end of Ant-Man, where their version of the events happening looked like this epic train crash unfolding on screen, but then it just cuts to someone else's perspective and it's a little model train set falling over. I really did enjoy that. When it comes to Ant-Man and the Wasp, I thought that was one of the most boring Marvel sequels I've ever seen in my life. The antagonist of the film was instantly forgettable. Just the movie itself just felt really bland to me, and it sort of made me want to go to sleep. But I will say Quantumania looks awesome. Like, finally, it's like a different take on an Ant-Man movie where it looks like they're going as big as they possibly can, but at the same time, going as small as they possibly can. Isn't that weird? It's like, this is on a microscopic scale, but it's like the most epic feeling Ant-Man movie of all time, which I enjoy that contrast. We have a few super chats already in here. If you guys can, try to make the questions for like the next 5 minutes relate to the main topic, or talk about whatever you want to. And speaking of that, we have a Gary Busey question in there, but we'll get to all of those, I promise you. So ask away. Megan looks hilarious. Yeah, it's actually kind of funny. I'm not going to spoil anything, but there's a death scene in Megan, and it shouldn't be funny because just saying the character that goes sounds morbid in itself if I just described it, but it's hilarious. I laughed for a solid like 60 seconds. How abrupt it was. It was beautiful, and people in my theater thought I was absolutely insane. The next one I want to talk about is Cocaine Bear, a movie that should star Nicolas Cage. But this is based on a true story, sort of, kind of, very loosely based on a true story, but it could be a good time. The next one we have in March is Creed 3. Now, I like the first Creed movie quite a bit. The second one to me felt like a lot of missed opportunity, especially with the character of Drago. I thought they could have done a little bit more with him. I was like, you're going to have the best, for me, my favorite Rocky villain of all time, come back with his kid. And it's just like, it just felt like they did half as much as I wanted them to do with the character. Like the substance wasn't quite there. It was always lacking. But Creed 3 could be good. It's Michael B. Jordan's first directorial film, which it's weird that they just hand those out to people. It's like, oh, you're an actor, so I guess you can direct a $80 million movie now. I would have been nice if he directed like a commercial or something, or a short film, but hey, nevertheless. The next one we have here is going to be Scream, the new Scream movie. Now, if you've watched my channel for the last couple of years, you might have known I wasn't a big fan of the previous Scream movie. I love the original, but the previous Scream film to me, it felt like it could have been like an extended MTV episode of Scream. It just didn't feel very cinematic and very contrived, and nothing actually made sense by the end of the movie. But they told you it did, so people thought it did. I don't know how they had a 5'3" girl somehow was the killer in the hospital who was a 6'3" giant dude killing another big muscular dude. But supposedly that 5'2" girl was doing all of that. Either way, it made no sense. I hate it. But the new Scream movie, I will say, I'm interested, and I'll tell you why. The geographical location of the new Scream movie. Finally, they're out of the suburbs and they're going into the city. And I feel like something about that environment can lend itself to all new, like an entire new experience. I don't know. I like an urban setting in any movie. I just think it's more interesting. The possibilities are endless. And if, for nothing else, even if it's terrible, maybe it'll have like Jason Takes Manhattan vibes, which is a terrible Friday the 13th film. But because they go to Manhattan, even though they filmed most of it in Canada, it makes it way more interesting to me. So I'm looking forward to that. You guys are chiming in here with a lot of questions, and I will get to all of them. Someone said, I liked Scream 5. Oh, I'm glad you did. I hated it. Someone mentioned Eternals. Ant-Man and the Wasp was a B+. I see Ant-Man and the Wasp, to me, was a movie that you'd never need to watch again. It just felt like the filler movie. It's like, we're contractually obligated to make this sequel, so let's do it. John, have you seen the Evil Dead Rise trailer? I have not. I don't think I have. Maybe I don't think I have. The next one comes March 17th. Wow, I didn't know it was coming out in March. We have the new Shazam. Okay, I'm looking forward to this. I like the first one. The sequel looks like it could be good. And the funny thing is, when it comes to the new Shazam movie, I guess DC is currently keeping the character of Shazam around for a while getting rid of everything else, including Black Adam. And The Rock was actually offered a cameo role in the new Shazam movie, and he said no, because The Rock, he's an A-list guy. He's not going to cameo in your movie. No. But for me, The Rock is sort of a franchise killer, if you think about it. Every franchise the man touches, it dies. Ant-Man 2 sucks. Yeah, I agree. Ant-Man 2 sucks. If you like it, I'm glad you do. I'm sure Marvel is even more glad. They got some of the money, not me. The next one comes in March 24th. It's John Wick 4. It's weird to say it's John Wick 4. But yeah, we're getting a new John Wick movie. I like me some Keanu Reeves. I wasn't a big fan of the previous few John Wick movies, but hey, hopefully the new one goes bigger and better than the last few. I know a lot of people like the last few installments. I love the first one. But the last two sort of just got a little messy and tried to introduce a lot of characters and subplots. And it just felt like a lot of side missions from a video game that you don't want to play to me. Then we have Dungeons and Dragons. Now, this could either be the best movie ever, or it could be the worst movie ever, or it could be somewhere in the middle where it's sort of a guilty pleasure movie. And I actually think that's where I want this movie to go. Like, for example, I watch movies like Waterworld, right? Not a very good movie when you read the screenplay or judge it from a very cynical standpoint, but it's a fun movie to watch, right? It's like, it's fun. The scope is huge. It's just, you can immerse into it. It's cheesy and corny, and the story's kind of atrocious at times, but nevertheless, you like looking at it. And that's what I'm hoping Dungeons and Dragons does. I hope it's just like one of those perfect rainy night frozen pizza movies that you can put on and just let go of reality. And it's a big epic adventure. So I'm actually sort of looking forward to this. Dog29 says, I love all 3 John Wick movies. Most people do. I hope John Wick doesn't go full Fast and Furious. Yeah, see, that's what I don't want it to do. I wish the John Wick franchise would get back to something a little bit more subdued and simplistic like the first movie was. I don't want them to focus on Halle Berry's character and these gold coins, and like it just gets so contrived to me at some point. And then I felt like with the John Wick franchise, the hand-to-hand combat fighting got a little too self-indulgent, where they were just doing this for 12 minutes on screen. That's what the fight choreography felt like to me at times. I wish they would just do this. I have a gun. Bang, bang. You're dead. We don't have to slap each other's hands for 12 minutes. All right. Continuing on, we have Evil Dead. Now, this comes out April 1st, and I'm looking forward to it. It's time for a good horror film, and I don't really know much about the story of this. I'm trying to avoid everything I can. I just want to go in fresh, but I'm a fan of the Evil Dead franchise, so looking forward to it. And as far as the previous Evil Dead movie that came out, what was that, like 2013, 2014? I did a review for it. I thought that was very well made. I never had the urge to go back and revisit it, but I thought it was mildly entertaining at the time. Someone here says the main reason Warner Brothers got rid of Cavill was because they couldn't afford him. I'm pretty sure they can afford him. I think they have a few extra dollars laying around to be able to hire Superman. And then we have the Super Mario Brothers movie with Chris Pratt voicing Mario, doing sort of a New York Boston accent. I'm looking forward to this. Since I was a stupid little kid on my SNES playing Super Mario World for pretty much, I would say, 8 solid years of my life. This is a movie that lends itself to me. And I'll tell you this. I remember as a kid back in 1992 being a huge fan of the video games, going to see Super Mario Brothers, the movie, the live action movie with John Leguizamo, and thinking to myself, I don't know what this is. I don't understand what's happening or why they made this look the way it does. But I remember going to the theater to see it 3 times. I was really bored in 1992 as a kid. Either way, I'm looking forward to it. And then we have Guardians of the Galaxy 3. It's been a long time coming. Think about this. The last Guardians of the Galaxy was in 2017. That's a long time. We've waited a long time for this sequel, if you really think about it. Looking forward to it. I know some people die. I'm just a theory. I think Rocket's probably going, just putting it out there. I don't want to see it, but I think Rocket or Drax are definitely going. Then we have probably my number one most anticipated of the movie of the year, and I think everyone's most anticipated movie of the year. I mean, how could it not be good? It's Fast and Furious 93. Actually, I think it's Fast and Furious 10. I watched 17 minutes of the previous Fast and Furious movie, and that's all I could handle. It was just the most obnoxious piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. But either way, maybe I'll watch this in theaters. I don't want to, but I'll probably watch it. Maybe, probably not. Either way. Fast 10 goes to space and time travel. Yeah, if they don't have a dinosaur in this next Fast and Furious movie, it's just like, then what are you even doing anymore? All right, the next one comes May 26th. It's The Little Mermaid, the live-action Little Mermaid movie. Now, listen, I don't feel like we really need a live-action Little Mermaid movie, but I'll tell you this. I'll tell you why I don't like the look of this movie thus far, is because it just looks desaturated. Like, it looks gloomy and depressing, and it's like, aren't you supposed to be in the Caribbean Sea with bright, vivid colors and blue oceans? Like, this shit should look like Avatar: The Way of Water that happens to have a mermaid in it. That's what this movie should look like. And then you watch the trailer, and it looks like aerials and some kind of, like, I don't know. It looks like she's in purgatory or something. It just looks depressing. I don't know how, like you're marketing this movie towards little kids, right? They like bright, vivid colors. I like bright, vivid colors, especially when it comes to a Disney movie. So put some saturation in that shit, Disney. What are you doing? Then we have the new Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse movie coming out June 2nd. I like the first one. Looking forward to the second one. I think a lot of people are, so it'll be a good time. Everything I've seen thus far about it looks like a solid sequel. Then we have Transformers. What the fuck is this called? Is this called Beast Wars? I can't see the font there. Anyway, it's a new Transformers movie where robots turn into animals or animals turn into robots. What came first, the chicken or the egg? I'm not quite sure. But this is actually directed by the same guy who directed Creed 2, I believe. And I'll tell you my hold up about all of this. And yes, thank you guys so much for the questions. I'm going to get into every single one of them at the very end of this. He sort of makes his movies feel like music videos to me. Just putting it like Creed 2 sort of felt like a music video. It felt very shallow. And I'm feeling like the new Transformers movie might feel that way. But then again, I'm just happy it's not directed by Michael Bay. I'm done with Michael Bay. And by the way, on a side note, speaking of Michael Bay, and I don't want to get off topic too long here, but I was watching part of Schindler's List the other night, and I thought to myself, what if they rebooted Schindler's List but had Michael Bay direct it? Could you imagine that movie? It was a weird thought that went through my brain. First, I would love to see 5 minutes of that. Okay, then we have the new Flash movie coming out June 16th. Now, this movie has been a disaster, to say the least. I mean, they've done reshoots. They've basically changed the creative direction of the DCEU. And I don't know what's to come of this. There's been rumors that Ezra Miller might be returning. This actually just came out like today, that he might come back since he hasn't killed anyone in the last 3 weeks and he's being a good boy now. See, when it comes to being a star in Hollywood, there's certain things you can and can't do. You can beat women. You can kidnap children and still have a career. But if you tweet the wrong thing, you're done. That's the rules of Hollywood. So anyway, The Flash is coming out. I'm looking forward to this. I've heard a lot of good things and bad things about this thus far, if you believe the rumors. I just want to see Michael Keaton back as Batman and kick some ass. And then I guess that'll be the end of that. Originally, the plan was to have Michael Keaton be sort of the new Batman of this universe. But with James Gunn taking over DC, I guess that's not happening anymore. But either way. Then we have... Is it Elemental? Is that a Pixar movie? I'm sorry, the screen is so small. Don't know much about it. Then we have June 30th, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, baby. You know what would be phenomenal? If this movie does have some kind of time travel element in it, if they go back and undo Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, they just eradicate it from the franchise somehow. That would be great. But I'm looking forward to the Dial of Destiny. Hey, he deserves a better send-off, and I have faith in the director of this film, so looking forward to it. The trailer looked good, so I'm holding out hope. Then we have, what is this last movie here we have? It's not the last movie, but my screen is so small I can't even read. Here we go. Oh, Mission Impossible. Yes. All right, the new Mission Impossible movie, July 14th. Now, this has been delayed once or twice, much like every Tom Cruise movie in the last couple of years. But hey, I've heard Tom Cruise goes to space at some point in this movie. He's jumping off of everything he possibly can. And I'll tell you one thing when it comes to this that gets me really excited. I watched a making of video of the new Mission Impossible movie. And the first 5 minutes of this video, it's this huge stunt of Tom Cruise on a motorcycle. And they set up this large ramp where he's connected to a wire. And he's driving down the ramp, jumping off of it like 3 times. I'm like, oh, that's the new stunt in the movie. No. That was just a test stunt before they actually did the real stunt. I know, it's crazy. So not only did he practice jumping off of a ramp on a dirt bike. No, that's not the movie. No. The real stunt is he's going to drive off of a cliff, then he's going to parachute. That's the stunt. So I thought that was mind-blowing. Either way, I'm looking forward to Tom Cruise just jumping off of things, because why not? Then the next one we have here is going to be the Barbie movie with Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie, who at this point, Margot Robbie is sort of like box office poison. The last 2 or 3 movies that she starred in had like $90 million budgets and made no money. I don't blame that on her. I mean, you blame the marketing. But when it comes to Margot Robbie, she's starring in every other movie. Like, I think 25, she's starring in like 12 movies next year. So just anytime you need a blonde, attractive woman, they just go, Margot Robbie. Yeah, she'll be in it. And that's fine by me. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Barbie movie, probably more than I should. Then we have Oppenheimer. Nolan. He's coming back. And his last movie, Tenet, I know some people like it. I thought it was a disaster. I thought it was like the most self-indulgent Christopher Nolan movie where he wanted to make it as convoluted as he possibly could. And it's like, okay, we get it. You like time. And you like to tell a very confusing story. I get it, man. But I'm glad he's telling a historical story once again. I think those lend themselves to just be more immersive to me. And it's a movie about the atomic bomb, which is interesting to say the least, and the man who created it. And talk about a moral dilemma, right? But either way, looking forward to that. And practicality, I mean, the man's actually blowing up things, real explosions. It's not just digital fire, it's actual explosions. So that'll be an awesome time. And I'm hoping it's better than Tenet. The next one we have here is whatever that is. Sorry. Oh, The Marvels. I don't know much about this, and I don't really care to know much about this. And then we have August 4th, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Now, I believe this is produced by Seth Rogen, and I don't know if he's voicing any of the Ninja Turtles. It feels like it would be a wasted opportunity to not have him voice one of them. I could live without him voicing one of them, but his voice was made to be a Ninja Turtle. I did not know that. You guys want to order some pizza? Terrible impression. And then we have Blue Beetle coming out August 18th, starring the kid from Cobra Kai. Then we have Kraven the Hunter coming out October 6th. And listen, when it comes to Sony's solo villain movies, if Morbius is any indication of the quality that Kraven the Hunter will be, well, I would just say stop doing everything now and burn the footage that you have and start over. I don't have much faith in this movie, but I think Kraven, the character, is pretty cool. When it comes to Sony producing comic book movies, they just don't seem to be very good at it anymore these days. It's like they're stuck in 2005, and all of their movies that relate to comic book movies look like movies from 2005. For some reason, that's just the look they're going with. All right, the next one comes from November 3rd here, and we got Dune. Now, I know the cool thing to say is I like Dune. The first movie is really good, but the truth is, it looks really cool. You want it to be like more immersive and relate to the characters more than you do when you watch it. And I think if you read the book, maybe you really enjoy it. But for me, it was a visceral experience visually. But outside of that, when you're dealing with an alien race of characters whose personality types and their entire race is very stoic and blah, blah, blah. We talk like this, monotone. It's sort of hard to get through movies like that, but visually it was beautiful to look at. I'm looking forward to the sequel. I don't love the first Dune as much as some people do. I think I put it in my top of the year, but I haven't really had the urge to rewatch it. Then we have Wonka. Why? Because originality is lacking. I don't know. It's a prequel movie about Willy Wonka. If that's the movie you want to see, then I guess we're getting it. Then we have a new Ghostbusters movie. I liked Ghostbusters Afterlife, but really to continue on with the kids taking over, I don't know if that's what I want to see, to be honest with you. But then again, if they move from the country-esque setting of the Ghostbusters Afterlife and they go into the big city, and they're actually more Ghostbuster-esque things going on, I think that could be interesting. But I think that young cast of characters that they have right now, I don't know if they're strong enough to carry a movie just yet. We'll see. Then we have the new Aquaman movie, which will be the last Aquaman movie with Jason Momoa, because James Gunn don't want that shit in the new DCEU. So, hey, here's a new Aquaman movie, but nothing that happens probably matters. So yeah, those are some of the big upcoming movies of 2023. I know there's a lot of smaller films that are coming out, some very cool independent films, things like that, A24 movies. But I just wanted to talk about the big blockbuster popcorn movies that rely on name recognition. So with all of that said, guys, let's dive into your questions. Let's talk about what you guys want to talk about, and I'll just dive into it here. Okay, where are we at? Here we go. Are you guys ready? I know I am. Skylar Wheelock says, what are some movies that make you question everything? Mine would be The Truman Show and Interstellar. Well, I think the one movie that makes you question everything, and even so more the older I get, is The Matrix. I truly believe there's some form of The Matrix that exists. Take that how you will. I think we live in some form of a simulation. Take it how you will. However you want to justify it, whatever terminology you want to use, there's just so many things in life that feels almost to the point where coincidence doesn't make sense anymore. It's like the same variation of things repeat themselves. And in a way, sort of like the Truman Show, it's like there's only so many different storylines we're given, right? And at some point, they start repeating themselves over and over again with small details that change. And it just feels like my entire life is a sequence of those things. Just putting it out there. So I would say The Matrix sort of makes you question everything. The next one comes from The Rat Party. What has fetching bricks from the bottom of a pool got to do with being a special agent? Well, I'll tell you this. Hold your breath. It's good stamina. And if you're going to be an FBI agent, it has everything to do with it. If you can't swim, you can't fight crime. Just putting it out there. But yeah, I actually just watched Point Break again the other day. And when is Point Break coming to 4K? I want it now. Christopher Butcher says, have a good night, John. Well, have a good night too, Christopher. Nico says he wants some candy. I got some candy right here. Just get in my van. I'm a friend of your parents. Come on, you know you want it. All right, it's getting weird. Let's take this off the screen now. The next one comes from... Come on, update. ONR says, did you go to DePaul? Go Blue Demons. I did not. Did not go there. Carter Lovejoy says, and here's his most anticipated movies. Mine are Indiana Jones 5, Spider-Verse, Killers of the Flower Moon, Dune 2, Mission Impossible, Dead Reckoning, Barbie, Guardians 3, Oppenheimer, John Wick 4, and Asteroid City. Ooh, Asteroid City. What's that all about? Yeah, I would say those are some of my favorites as well. I don't really know what my number one most anticipated of next year actually is. I'm not sure. I'm looking forward to Oppenheimer, though. I will say that. But thanks for the question, Carter. Movies for Life says, Yo Flick, I got 2 challenges for you. Name something you don't like about Nightcrawler and something you like about Terminator Dark Fate. Something I don't like about Nightcrawler. God, to me, it's almost a near perfect movie to me. I know that sounds, I don't even say that in the sense that it's my favorite movie, so I'm going to be biased. I just say it in the most cynical sense I can. It's like, there's no fat on the bone with that movie. Something I don't like. Really, my only complaint is I wish there was just a little bit more of some of the situations that they're in, some of the crimes that they film. I mean, really, it's. I think it's to some degree Rene Russo's character, who's the news director in the film. She, by the end of the film, doesn't feel human anymore, and I know exactly what they're going for. They want her and Lou Bloom to almost be the same in the sense of they'll do whatever it takes. But with different ways of going about it. But I feel like maybe she turned into a sociopath a little too quickly. But that's really, like, I can't think of many other complaints. Something I liked about Terminator Dark Fate, I liked when the credits started rolling and I could get up out of my seat and run the fuck out of the theater. That's what I liked about that movie. I don't know. Maybe I liked the one chick who was the hero of the movie. I liked her like little boy haircut. That was pretty cool. Those are a few things I liked about the movie. The next one comes from. I liked how Arnold, the retired T-800, is now installing drapery for children. That's his job title. That's what he does for a living. I thought that was really clever. Yeah. I'm lying right now. Skylar Wheelock says, what is the biggest unanswered question in a movie that still bothers you? The biggest unanswered question? I don't know. What was in the briefcase in Pulp Fiction? What was that gold glowing thing that drove the plot to that film that actually didn't matter? I don't know. That's a great question for you guys watching right now. A clogged toilet or a Rise of Skywalker? No, let me ask you that. What is the biggest unanswered question in a movie that you would like to know the answer to? Let me know that. Ryan says, hey, Flicky boy, do you take creatine? I do not. Was never a fan of creatine. I didn't like the way it made me look. I'm very susceptible. My body is very susceptible of like bloating, and the smallest amount of bloat always made me look more bloated than I was. So creatine to me just made me retain too much water, and it made my face puffy. And I took it for a while, and did it make me stronger? Maybe 1%, I guess you could say, because the way creatine works is it just puts more water in your muscle tissue, which if your muscles are more hydrated and the acids don't build up as much, you might be able to get one extra rep out when you're working out. If that's what you want to do, so be it. For me, I'd rather look lean when I work out, not bloated, like I'm retaining too much water. We got Triple Swiss here who says the ending of Inception. Yeah, I know it's almost been to some degree proven that the top did fall over or was going to fall over. But that entire sequence at the end of Inception, it just felt too dreamlike to me, and I wasn't buying into it. The other thing about the whole movie was it just felt like they were going into a dream to save Cobb because he was so deep in limbo. And I don't feel like he made it out. I actually prefer the dark ending of it. Like, he's just stuck in limbo. They couldn't find a way to save him, but what they did is they gave him a happy ending. Sounds like a good way to go out to me. That's the way I would explain the movie. Kenny says the Sopranos finale for TV. Yeah, it was definitely unsatisfying, to say the least. But if you actually look into the symbolism of the ending episode of Sopranos, there's tons of symbolism going on. From the way that everyone's eating in the movie, which means like pretty much you're saying your final goodbyes. There's like a religious take on it. To the way that when Meadow parks her car, she hits the curb and she keeps being delayed from coming in. So there's like a lot of little symbolism to it. When you break it down, it's kind of cool, but I do agree with you. The next one comes from John. You're still bussin' in that family video t-shirt. You like my family video t-shirt? This is retro, baby. But thanks for that, man. It's shrunk a little bit since I've had it for the last couple of years, but I like the way it feels on the pecs, if you know what I mean. Observing the Apocalypse says, would you subscribe to Thanos OnlyFans? No, I don't think you need to, because you can already see his ball sack. It's on his chin. You don't got to pay for that. The next one comes from Night King 01. Glad Dave Bautista is moving on from Guardians after 3. Well, yeah, because his character's probably going to die. Anyway, says he wants to branch out more, and I'm all for it. He said he would work with Denis Villeneuve for free. Unlikely actor-director relationship. I don't see that being unlikely at all. I could see, why would that be unlikely? Dave Bautista was in Blade Runner 2049. So that's a very likely relationship in my opinion. But yeah, I like Bautista. The thing I like about him when it comes to acting roles is he's actually trying to become a character actor. He's trying to play different characters in his movies. Unlike The Rock, for example, or John Cena. He wants to be this character who happens to be like a big muscular dude. So I can appreciate things like that. The next one comes from... Did Tony Soprano die in the finale? Yes, in my opinion, he did. It's pronounced Villeneuve. Actually, I'm friends with Denis Villeneuve, and he told me how to pronounce it. But you're probably right. Villeneuve. It's pronounced Villeneuve. Here, let me punish myself. There. How dare I say a name wrong that's unpronounceable. Okay. Fun fact, in high school, my last name's Flickinger, and every substitute teacher would call me Fuckinger accidentally. Because when you put a capital L and a capital I side by side, it looks like a U. Sort of like the Flick Pick sign back there. See where it says Flick? Looks like a U right there. But I kind of like it. The next one comes from Dr. Sick Evil. Hey, John, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. How are you doing? Are you stoked for the new Willem Dafoe movie, Inside? My most anticipated movie this year are Disappointments, Boulevard, Oppenheimer, The Killers of Flower Moon, The Pale Blue Eyes, Knock at the Cabin, maybe. Yeah, The Killers of the Flower Moon, yes. Well, I don't know what the new Willem Dafoe movie is, Inside. I don't know what that is. Maybe I don't think I know what that is. But put Willem Dafoe in a movie, I'll be there. By the way, thanks to all 350 of you beautiful people watching right now. Thank you, guys. All right, the next one comes from James Doshier. Hey, John. For me, the movies I'm looking forward to are the Super Mario Brothers movie, as well as the Barbie movie, just to see Margot Robbie in it. Me too. And Ryan Gosling as the beautiful blonde-haired Ken. That sounded slightly erotic, but I stand by it. Also, Michael Cera's in the movie. Did you know that? And they won't say who he's playing. I'm sure it's out there somewhere now, but I would love if Michael Cera played like Ken's brother. Like, you know, the opposite of everything Ken is. That's Michael Cera as like a Barbie doll character. That'd be great. I don't know. Maybe he is. Max Nugenbauer says, Happy New Year, John. I'm crossing my fingers Indiana Jones 5 will be at least better than 4. I think you could poop an Indiana Jones hat, and that would be a better storyline than Kingdom of the Crystal Skull shit. And by the way, yeah, it is 2023 now. And I think, have I done a live stream in 2023? I don't think is this the first one? Welcome to the future, everyone. All right, the next one comes from Carter Lovejoy. Exclusive. Leaked footage from Barbie 2023 shows Barbie saying it's bourbon time, and then everyone Barbied everywhere. It's projected to make over $1 billion. James Cameron is shaking in his boots. I don't believe any of that's true, but I thank you for the question, Carter, and thank you for the very generous super chat. Much appreciated, man. Speaking of Morbius, you know what? Never mind. I'm not talking about it. I'm done talking. I will not talk about Morbius until my top 10 worst of the year video, which might be next week. Christopher Butcher says, have a good night, John. Thanks for the streams. Well, thanks for hanging out, Christopher. I wish you would stay longer, but thanks for that, man. James Doshier says, do you enjoy the movie Gremlins? I like Gremlins. It's okay. I've never loved it, but I actually enjoy the sequel to Gremlins a bit more. It's not a better movie by any means, but I like that it takes place in a it takes place in this skyscraper, and there's like a TV station going on, and all kinds of like more fun gags happening. So as a kid, I would always watch Gremlins 2 way more than the first one. It was more interesting to me. But I have not seen Gremlins, the first or the sequel, in many, many years. But I do own the steelbook of Gremlins. I think it's on 4K, actually. Movies for Life says, worst modern trilogy, Star Wars, Halloween, or Jurassic World. You know what, man? You could pick all three. Where do you start, right? In one way or another, they all started off okay, right? They started off to the point where it wasn't offensively bad. It was like, oh, this is okay. It's okay. It's not as good as the originals by any means, but this started off okay. Like Force Awakens, I don't like the 2018 Halloween movie, but it wasn't as bad as the sequels. And then you had Jurassic World, which some people really enjoyed. I thought it was a bland, bastardized version of the first movie, and it was everything wrong with the modern day Hollywood system with generic, bland characters that don't matter. And even the color grading was way too blue and dull and lifeless. And some of the story plots in the movie made no sense whatsoever. But either way, some people still liked it. And then each movie with each sequel in their franchise progressively got worse and worse and worse. I think you really honestly, if you want my answer to it, I think Star Wars should have been better, could have been better, but somehow they just didn't have a plan. Like they spent billions of dollars acquiring the rights to Star Wars, and they're like, we're going to make a trilogy. And then they didn't know what they wanted to do in their own trilogy. Like they couldn't just sit there for 10 minutes and brainstorm a simple outline with 5 bullet points of where this trilogy is going to go. It just like they were throwing shit at the wall and none of it stuck. So, and it was very blatantly obvious by the third installment, Rise of Skywalker. Ugh. So yeah, if I had to pick one, I think the biggest letdown was definitely the Star Wars property, but man, like Jurassic World Dominion should have been better than it was. It should have capped off that franchise and just been an awesome movie. Like, how do you make a movie with dinosaurs boring? Somehow Jurassic World Dominion did it. Oh, you want the original cast of characters to come back? Okay, well, they're back, but we don't know we're not going to do anything with them. They're just fucking back there. You want dinosaurs in a Jurassic Park movie? Okay, how about some giant locusts instead? Huh? That's what you're getting. It just felt like they were mad at us and they wanted to punish us. Anyway, all right, let's keep going here. Parker LaRose says, have you seen Invincible or read the comics? Invincible? I thought wasn't that a fucking Mark Wahlberg movie where he played football for the Philadelphia Eagles? What was that? What is Invincible? I don't know. I guess not. If it's based on a comic. All right. The Lost World of Jurassic Park's fine. I enjoy it. That's a fine sequel. Definitely. The third movie, which isn't very good, is better than anything the Jurassic World franchise did. What does that tell you? All right. The next one comes from Night King 01. I meant unusual actor-director relationship. You would never think of, but they work together. Best wrestler actor by far. Yes, I agree. But he needed a big muscle-bound dude who could act a little bit, and he got that with Dave Bautista. So I do get what you're saying. It's a unlikely pairing, but it's not like Dave Bautista is like the super main star of his movies. It's not like when Scorsese cast Leonardo DiCaprio to be the main character. You know, he's a secondary character at best. So, but I get what you're saying there. Carter Lovejoy says, I'm wearing the drive jacket to Barbie. Well, you know what? Maybe I'll wear my drive jacket to Barbie as well. It's in the closet down the hallway. I almost want to go get it right now. Maybe I will. We'll see. It feels depending on how frisky I get in this live show, I might go get the drive jacket. The next one comes from Bob and KC. John, how would you describe your style? Oh, my style, like my YouTube style? I like to think I have a little bit of deadpan humor. I'm very self-deprecating when I need to be. I like to be slightly aggressive, but then I pull back. I like to be informative, but not self-righteous. I like to be informative, but not too narcissistic at the same time. I like to ride the line. You know, there's sometimes I make videos and I like when I'm watching them and I'm editing them, I'm like, ooh, I sound too pretentious. So I take it back a notch to make it sound more goofy. So I like to ride the line of, you know what it is? As long as I don't sound pretentious, that's, you know, okay. The best way I'll describe my videos, my style, I like to be personable, informative, and entertaining. That's the way. But if I offend you, I'm unapologetic. That's the style of my videos. I stand by that. But thank you. Thank you, Bob and Casey. All right, here we go. How would you describe... My question to you is, if you're watching right now, how would you describe my style of video? And please don't use the word shit. But if you want, if that truly describes it, that's fine by me. Douchebag might work as well. Cam M says, favorite A24 films. Man, I really liked The Lighthouse. This year, probably The Whale, I would definitely say is on there. The Whale's definitely in my top 10 of the year. So yeah, I would say a few of those. A24 always gives me hope when it comes to the studio. Some of their movies feel a little bit pretentious and art housey to an over degree, but nevertheless, man, I still like get excited about every A24 movie. Your videos are offensive and I love it, but they're not even really offensive. The weird thing is, like, my offensiveness is like saying a movie's bad. Like, I don't think that's offensive. I just don't like to tiptoe. Someone said mystical. What's John's most offensive moment? Humbling John's in an arm wrestling match, maybe? Oh yeah, I did. Quirky, self-deprecating, and silly. I'll take that. John's style is badass. You guys are too nice to me. Thank you for this. Your style is procrastination. That's a good point, my good sir. It is. I like to overthink everything and overanalyze everything. I truly do. To the point where it's almost debilitating. And that's why I do the live shows. I just do them. I just got to push record and say, go. That's why I don't schedule these in advance. So, laid back style. Sometimes, but then I do jump cut videos where it feels very like, like, I don't know. Someone said I have magical mystical balls. Well, on that note, thank you very much. All right, the next one comes from J Flicks. Are you going to see the Tom Hanks new movie, Otto? A Man Named Otto? Maybe, I don't know. I don't see myself going to the theater to watch that. I don't know why, I just don't see it. Now, if it was on streaming, which maybe it is, I'll watch it. But yeah, something about it just doesn't look all that enticing. Cocaine-induced videos. Thank you for that. No, I don't read a lot of Stephen King novels. I like some of his movies. I mean, I definitely like some of the movies based on his novels, like Stand By Me or The Shawshank Redemption. Oddly enough, I'm not a big fan of Stephen King's horror films that have come out. Like, not to say they're not, like The Shining, great, things like that, but Maximum Overdrive, shittiest movie ever made, but I loved it as a kid. But I always enjoyed his more less horror themed movies and books. Like I like the more simplistic ones, like something like Stand By Me. Night King 01 says Michael Caine revealed that Nolan told him whenever he's in a scene in Inception, it's not a dream, so it's real, and the ending is real. That's interesting, because every scene that Michael Caine is in, specifically in Inception, feels like a dream. So I'm almost willing to say, let's pretend it's the opposite of that. And then if you pretend it's the opposite of that, then in fact, it all is in fact a dream. Because that scene where Leonardo DiCaprio's character Cobb goes and meets his father, Michael Caine, in his office while he's teaching, something about that whole interaction of them together, it feels like, first of all, the movie doesn't show you how he gets there. And all of a sudden he just has it sets up having Ellen Page's character introduced into the movie, which would make sense for her to come into the story. But it feels so like tacked in. It doesn't feel like reality to any degree. It's just like, why is he teaching in this other country? Why have they not communicated in years? He's allowed to come here. He can meet his father anytime. He's in no trouble with the law in this certain country. So just a lot of things felt very dream-esque to me. It's like, and they even say in the movie, in a dream, you don't know how you get to a certain place and how you leave it. And that's exactly what happens in that scene. So that's why I'm going to say that's a blatant lie, and it's the opposite of that. The next one comes from Claudia Rojan. Did you see the Renfield trailer? Looks pretty good. I have not seen the Renfield trailer. What is Renfield? Let me look this up. Renfield. Oh, and Nicolas Cage, Dracula's henchman. Yes. Okay, I didn't see the trailer. No, I did not. But now I'm watching it. I would show you guys, but it's a Universal trailer. And if I even show one clip of it, they'll give my video a copyright strike. It looks hilarious. I just saw Nicolas Cage at the end. It looks like a movie that should be on streaming, though, in all fairness. But yeah, I'm looking forward to Nicolas Cage in anything. The last time Nicolas Cage played a vampire, it was a beautiful thing, so. Was that a shark or something? Parker LaRose says, best and worst TV shows of 2022. For me, the best are probably going to be House of Dragon, Stranger Things Season 4, Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul Season 6, the finale. I enjoyed Dahmer. There's probably a few other series in there that I watch, but for me, those would be like the top 3. I really did enjoy House of Dragon. That was just so cinematic and immersive. That's the kind of shit I want more of. But the new Stranger Things was really good. I liked that they actually went a little bit more dark and over the top with it. In season 4 of Stranger Things, it was a very Nightmare on Elm Street-esque vibe, which I did appreciate very much. But yeah, I would say those are my favorite series of the year. Jason Nelson says, Happy New Year, John. Are you going to stop swearing? Probably fucking not. I don't know. I try not to swear too much unless I want to emphasize something. You know, I try to be very selective with it. But probably not. Watch Evil Dead Rises trailer. I don't want to watch the trailer for it. Maybe I saw it in the theater or something, but I try not to. I don't like to watch trailers for movies anymore. I really don't. I try to avoid them. Don't get me wrong. If it's a big movie coming out, I really want to see it. Like, I have an urge to watch it, and it's going to be presented to my eyeballs at some point when I go to the cinema. But watching movie trailers on YouTube is depressing to me. It's all compressed and looks like garbage and just like, I'm like, ugh. But when you see it in the theater for the first time, you're like, now that's how I want that's how you should see the trailer for the first time. Not that compressed bitrate bullshit on YouTube. The worst show of 2022 was Resident Evil. I think I watched 12 seconds of it and I was like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I thought it would be. Terrible. Isn't that crazy they can't make a good Resident Evil movie? Like, it's an IP that people like. If you made a really good movie, it would do very well at the theater or a good TV show. People would love it, but they just can't seem to do it. But speaking of like post-apocalyptic settings and TV shows, Last of Us, man, it's right around the corner. That's what I need. I need post-apocalyptic, well-made, well-filmed, cinematic series. That's my eyeballs are ready for it. Check out Wednesday. That was a pretty good series. I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes of Wednesday. I get the appeal, but the one thing I don't like about Wednesday is she is just good at everything. If ever the term Mary Sue sort of applied, it's to Wednesday's character. Like, she's just amazing at everything. Just any problem, I can fix it. And I don't know, episode 2 or episode 3, I thought some of the storyline was getting a little bit muddled and I lost a little bit of interest in it. Like, there wasn't much propelling me to binge it, is what I'm saying. Could I watch more of it on a rainy day? Do I like Jenna Ortega as Wednesday? Yeah, I think she's great. I think it looks very well made. It's just the overall story of it. I'm just like, do I need 8 episodes of a Wednesday show, or would this work better as just an hour-and-a-half movie? I don't know. Nico says Flickinger is going with the flow, as are we. Utah, give me 2. So hungry I could eat the ass out of Dead Rhino. Bullet Train was the most enjoyable movie of the year. I would say Bullet Train looked very nice. If you're going to watch an action movie on a rainy night and you come across it on Netflix, it's entertaining. I didn't love it as much as some people did. Yeah. I think it's fine. I get why people like it, but for me, it just was like, that was a one watch. And I vaguely remember the ending of the movie at this point. It just kind of had like this repetitive tone to it. You know, it was like the mystery that I was getting by the end of the movie wasn't quite enough to keep me engaged, I would say. You know, if you want to watch a movie on a train, go watch something like Snowpiercer instead. The next one comes from NRML Design. John, seems like every decade there's a new trend / genre of movies that come out. What do you predict will be the go-to for the rest of this decade? That's tough to say. We're in a weird pattern right now. We're in a weird phase of Hollywood and movies. It's like Hollywood is sort of done making the big bloated Michael Bay movies to a certain degree. It's like we're starting to slowly learn that people want quality cinema back again. So we're getting more independent films that are well made. And when it comes to the big IP movies, I feel like right now what happened was Marvel, to a certain degree, made these like really bad filler movies in phase 4. Like they just the sloppiest cut corner movies ever that had like bad screenplays and bad humor. And I'm hoping that they got that out of their system. But whatever the trend is for the next decade of Hollywood movies, it's tough to say. It really is, because there's a mix of everything. Like you have Sony putting out movies like fucking Morbius, right? Like Thor Love and Thunder just came out. That was an abomination. But then you get like quality movies every once in a while from other studios. So I don't know I don't know what's happening anymore. I don't comprehend it. I really don't. As far as like original big blockbuster movies coming out, I think they're going to be very few and far between, to say the least. But then again, there's like, we have a sequel to Gladiator coming out in a couple years. Think about that. So anything's possible. As far as the next trend, I don't know. I really don't. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't even predict it. I don't even know what the current trend is. How do you define what the current trend in Hollywood is right now? I don't know. Someone says they loved The Menu. I liked The Menu too. Definitely probably in the top 10 of the year, I would say. Really good movie. Didn't make much money, but good movie. Claudia Rogajon says Michael Caine is Cobb's father-in-law, not his father. In the scheme, or for the sake of argument, what's the difference? What's the difference? What is the difference in the story? What difference would it make if it was his father or his father-in-law? What difference does it make? Okay. The next one. Jack Malloy says, "Hey John, it's been a while. Since I watched the live stream. Have you ever seen Sons of Anarchy? I have not. I know people recommended it. It just to me, like bikers selling meth for like 9 seasons. I'm like, how is this still going on? But then again, you had multiple seasons of Walter White making meth. So then again, I stand corrected. Anything's possible. I'll check it out. Something about it being on FX to me, I don't remember what it was. I think I watched like an episode and it just felt a little cliche to me, some of it. But maybe I should go back and rewatch it or give it a try. I'm not opposed to it. I do need a good series. I'll look into it, man. Should I watch Sons of Anarchy? Is it worth watching? Are there some seasons where you're like, yeah, it kind of feels like filler? Like, compare Sons of Anarchy to something like Breaking Bad in terms of quality. Like, I would give Breaking Bad an A+. What would you give Sons of Anarchy? Jack, did we already? Oh, also, what are your thoughts on the Tate brothers? Let me double check something here. Yeah, so when it comes to the Tate brothers who were arrested in Romania for some unspeakable crimes, I don't know how much truth there is to that. It definitely does seem like someone's out to get them. It's just like, why would you, if you're in that public spotlight to that degree, why would you be that dumb to do something like that? So I don't know how much truth is to it. I'm curious to see. It definitely feels like someone was out to find something, and if you look hard enough, you can find something on everyone. But it's crazy. It definitely sounds like something I feel like someone's gonna make a movie out of in 2 years. But I'm curious to see how that turns out. It's insane. It's just, if enough people are mad at you, something will come out of the woodwork. Claudia Rogajon says, follow up on my other super chat. That's why Michael Caine's character doesn't talk to Cobb in a very nice manner, because of his daughter's death. But at the same time, he keeps repeating the same thing. You need to come home. You need to go back home, which would be indicative of him being in his dream to try to get him out of limbo. So the fact that we're still talking about Inception 8 questions later and 40 minutes later, I don't know why we are, but I just stand by Cobb was in a dream. He was stuck in a fucking dream the whole time. That's the movie. I don't care. Do you remember Losers? Yes, I do, Heisenberg. If you don't know what Losers was, it was my Jackass Wannabe show I started filming in high school. And I wanted to put on public access before there was such a glorious thing called YouTube. Had YouTube just been around like 3 years earlier than it was, the kind of stuff that I would have put on the internet, I'm glad I didn't. Because there was some crazy shit I would have posted. All right, we got one here. Mr. 47 says it's on Breaking Bad level. Okay, that's a high bar to keep up with. JB says, did you add a mask to the Flick Pick sign behind you? Ooh, good eye, man. So back on the Flick Pick sign back there, that was my face. And I looked a little bit too pretentious. I was like, there's a very serious face. And I kind of got tired of looking at it. So I put 3D glasses on it. And the 3D glasses actually fit perfectly. So I don't have to look at my face that much. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's my face, but with 3D glasses on it. I just found an old pair of paper 3D glasses and some double-sided tape and put it on my my big logo back there. But yeah, man, good eye. Elix Flicks says nothing, but thanks for the super chat, man. You didn't type a question in there. Nico Lore says the Tate brothers. Yeah. Andrew Tate. Took me a second to get it too. What are your top 5 movies of 2022? You're just going to have to wait for the video, aren't you? I'm putting that video out. The reason I'm intentionally delaying that video is I have a review coming out tomorrow. And then like Sunday or Monday, I'll give you the top 10 best movies of the year. And then I'll give you the top 10 worst movies of the year a couple days after that. And the reason I do that is I don't like to rush that shit out the last week of December. There's just too much going on, like Christmas, New Year, blah, blah, blah. And in January, there's nothing to talk about. There's like nothing coming out. So I like to delay those videos. That way I have videos to put out in January. So I'm still actually working on them, to be honest with you. I haven't like got my exact top 10 just yet. John, now your picture looks like the Terminator. You kind of have a point, don't you? It does look a little Terminator-esque. Someone actually said that. I think my girlfriend said it looked like Arnold or something. Or maybe it's just in my head. I envisioned that. Halloween Ends was disappointing. It was an abomination of how you should make a movie. Yeah. Like the ending to Halloween Ends, the last like couple minutes, okay, cool. You did it. But everything else with like a secondary character, what was his name? Richie or Jeffrey Dahmer wannabe, whatever his name was. Just like, you think they're going somewhere with this character. You think they're building it up. They're going to do something cool and different and continue the franchise with him being the main antagonist. And then they just, nah. We didn't know what to do with the screenplay, so we just ended it. All right, guys. The next one comes from Jack Malloy. Yeah, you should watch Sons of Anarchy. I do agree Breaking Bad is amazing, but I would have to put The Sopranos as the greatest show of all time. Oh, I didn't say Breaking Bad's the best show ever made. I did not say that. The Sopranos, the weird thing about The Sopranos is the last season I didn't like. I didn't like when Tony was unconscious and he was in a coma. I didn't like anything that he was imagining. I didn't like that. But for me, I think the best series of all time, and I know season 8 sucks balls. I know, but Game of Thrones, like cinematic rewatchability, the characters, the sequences, there are just episodes in that series that feel like they could be their own movie. And if they were their own movie, you'd be like, oh, that was a really cool, like fantasy epic movie. So overall, I'm going to go with Game of Thrones. I just am. Some of the characters and some of the acting in that, the performances by Peter Dinklage, I mean, just to me, were just phenomenal in every way. Nothing else took me out of reality as much as that series did. Clary Rojan says, final answer to whether it's a dream or not, Cobb's totem is his wedding ring, as the top was his wife's totem. And he wears his wedding ring inside the dream, not outside, and he doesn't have it at the end. I know. I still like to think I still think he's a delusional dream. I don't know, man. You could be right. I don't know. It's been a couple years since I watched an analyzed video about Inception, but I always like to tell myself he's still in a dream. I don't know why. It feels more realistic that way to me. Like, I like to think he's laying somewhere on a slab and he's just like in a comatose state, and that he's in happy land now. That's what I like to think. Didn't the kids not age by the end of the movie? Like when he goes back to see his kids again and he's looking at them in the distance, aren't they like the same young age they were years before? Isn't that so? How does that coincide with your theory? Yeah, I'll do my top 10 best and worst this week and early next week. Home Improvement is the best show of all time. Not a bad show. I used to be addicted to it in the 90s as I was a kid. Okay, I'm going to answer a few more questions, guys. I'm going to wrap up this live show. Anything you guys want to say, get it in now. It doesn't have to be a super chat. It can be a normal chat, whatever you guys want to do. Please feel free to ask anything and everything. State your opinions. Let me know how you're doing. And we'll keep going for a few minutes here, or as long as the questions are juicy and entertaining and somewhat visceral. John, do you still like South Park? Occasionally I'll watch an episode, but I'm not a hardcore. Like, I like it. I just don't go to my way to rewatch or watch South Park. Did you see The Whale? Yes, loved The Whale. Loved it. Achilles Shoplight, thanks for the super chat. No question on there, man, but please type a question in if you can. Farrell Lovely says, okay, now I want to rewatch Inception. I think we all should watch Inception together, and we'll break down every single scene and every single nuance. Best 4K release of the year? Probably like Top Gun, maybe. Top Gun Maverick might be overall the best, but the new Pulp Fiction 4K looked okay. I just watched what did I watch the other day on 4K? I think it was an older movie. But yeah, probably Top Gun Maverick. The Batman looks pretty good on 4K too. So those would be a few of my picks. The Walking Dead, yeah, I used to love The Walking Dead. Then it got into season like maybe 4 or 5, and then After that, I kind of tapped out for a while. Then I went back and watched one of the newer seasons. I was like, it's okay, but it's just like the melodrama in that show and the character logic. It's almost frustrating to get through at times. So I kind of gave up on it. Do you think Oppenheimer will finally nab Nolan his long overdue Oscar? Possibly. The fact it's based on a historical event, if he handles it well, yes, I think it possibly could, but who knows, man. Do you still watch Shark Tank? Yes, I occasionally watch Shark Tank. Actually, I DVR it on my YouTube TV all the time. So, yeah, I watch Shark Tank. I love it. Still enjoy it. Sometimes it feels like, I don't know, a little too ABC to me. It's just like blah. But yeah, I watch it. Okay, here we go. Claudia Rogajon says, I've watched 3 seasons of Sons of Anarchy and I can tell you it's more than just bikers selling meth. It's definite recommend for me. And the best comparison I can think of is like a Biker Sopranos. That's more or less what I assumed. So I'm gonna watch it. You sold me. You sold me right there. Thanks, man. You sold me. And thanks for the super chat as always, Claudia. I'm going to watch that shit. I need a new show. I'm going to watch it. Seth Hall says, hey, John, Happy New Year's. Recast the Justice League. You're allowed to keep one if Ben Affleck as Batman. I can't recast the Justice League off the top of my head. I'm going to be honest, I can't do it. I would have to give you a good answer, I would have to research for like 7 hours on who I would cast in every role. Like Wonder Woman. I don't know. I don't know who I would like as a Wonder Woman. I don't know who I would like as a new Aquaman. I have no clue. All I can do is tell you I don't need Ezra Miller as Flash. That's the safest bet I could give you. But I really don't know off the top of my head, man. Sorry, I don't have a good answer for you. I would need time to think about it. And I don't know if I'm getting a fever or if it's getting hot in here, but I feel really warm. Hopefully it's just hot in here. Okay. But I would definitely keep Ben Affleck as Batman. That dude needs his solo Batman movie. That's all I'm saying. Mason Arnold says, got some awesome news. Finally moving out of my parents' house into one of my best friend's house to start my new job as a screen printer. Well, congratulations, man. Get out of your parents' basement or wherever you live. You'll be a new man, a new lease on life, and good luck with the job, man. I remember moving out of my parents' basement many, many years ago at the young age of 25 years old. I never thought I would leave, but somehow I magically did it. In a weird way, I have you guys to thank for that, and YouTube. I'd probably still be there if it wasn't for YouTube. I don't think I'd still be there, but I'm just saying YouTube helped expedite the process. So, yeah, man, good luck with that. Michael Parton says, I've decided to leave your channel membership, but I will still appear on the live streams every once in a while, but not that often. That's okay, Michael. I appreciate your support, man. All I ask is you watch. Stick around, hang out, watch. But thanks, man. That's okay. Thank you. Funny House says, the Menu was the most original and fun movie I've seen in years. I did really enjoy it. It goes completely off the rails by the third act. The thing about the Menu I really did enjoy was, and it almost felt like they were like, I almost felt not insulted. I felt like they were saying something to me in terms of criticism, because you have a Nicholas Holt's character who knows everything about food you could possibly know, except he doesn't know how to make a good meal. So that's sort of a take on criticism. It's like you can critique, you can criticize, you can know everything there is, but can you actually do? And hey, I get it. That's a jab. I get it. But that's why I've always liked to call myself, I like to refer to this channel as not a movie review channel, though I do review movies, more so on my other channel, The Flick Big. But this is a movie lifestyle channel that just so happens to be about a guy who's cynical at times. So yeah, I did really enjoy The Menu. Very original. And it made me hungry. The next one comes from Jack Malloy. Hi, John. I've asked a couple of questions already. I don't know if you remember me, but I used to send you a lot of Streamlabs about a couple of years ago. I remember you, Jack. Hope you're doing well, and I just watched Del Toro's Pinocchio Glass Onion the other night. I highly recommend. I saw Glass Onion at a press screening, and we shot a video in the theater, but the way I had to set up my camera on the back of a chair to shoot it, I shot it with my buddy, and it just, the camera was all tilted and looked like crap, and the lighting was bad, and I was just like, yeah, I don't know if I want to put this video on YouTube. Maybe I should have. I watched part of Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. I watched like the first 20 minutes of it, and I liked it. It was sort of dark, but at the same time, I was like, I don't really need another retelling of Pinocchio. I didn't have it in me to watch it. It just wasn't what I wanted. Like, I don't care how good of a Pinocchio movie you make, it's still a Pinocchio movie, and I don't feel like rewatching that story again. And also, I think it was like the same week or 2 weeks after the Robert Zemeckis Disney live action Pinocchio came out. And by that point, I was just Pinocchio'd out, man. I didn't give a shit if that little hunk of wood became a real boy or not. Don't care, you know? So that's where I was at with Pinocchio. Night King 01 says, have you ever read Judge Dredd comics? It's insane. I think I had like a couple of them back in 96 or something, but I never got super into them. There's a war between Ronald McDonald cosplayers and Colonel Sanders in the Cursed Earth movie now. What did you just say? I don't even know what I just read. What? Whatever just happened, I want to see. That sounds like a weird fever dream I had. Claudia Rogajon says, Ron Perlman is also in Sons of Anarchy, and he's one of the main characters. What more can you ask for in a show, John? I don't know, Nicolas Cage? Being a meth dealer? That's what I could ask for. Favorite performance by Ron Perlman is in the movie Drive. That's one fine pussy out. What's he say about that? What's he say? I want to get it right. That's one fine pussy mobile, motherfucker. Like, just look that clip up on YouTube. Type Ron Perlman drive scene where he's talking about a car. It's hilarious. Up Hip Sleet Production says, hey, John, can you give us your Zoa Energy review? Well, yes, I can. This isn't just an energy drink. This is the nectar of the gods. And by nectar of the gods, I mean this is actually the armpit sweat of The Rock himself. But he filters it and puts it into a drink, and it's delicious. No, you know, when it comes to the Zoa energy drinks, I do enjoy them because when you drink them, it doesn't completely taste like chemicals and battery acid and horse piss like some other, like, I've gotten to the point in my life where I can't drink Bang energy drinks anymore. Literally, the aftertaste of them, it tastes like I just sucked on a battery and, I don't know, licked a bathroom stall door handle. That's like the aftertaste to those. But these, they taste smooth and slightly refreshing. And they don't make you jittery or anything. Then again, I could snort caffeine and it wouldn't do anything to me at this point in my life. But yeah, they're smooth. I recommend them. I like the coconut flavor. It sort of tastes like tanning lotion. This is the berry flavor. Good. It's good. A little tart like most blueberries are. But I enjoy the white peach flavor and I like the fruit punch flavor. So that's my review of the Zoa energy drinks. And by the way, Rock, if you're watching, my check better be in the mail. The next one comes from Marcus Cedrus. But either way, Marcus, let's answer your question. Hi, John. Hope you're feeling magical and mystical. I watched Violent Night and thought it was bloody great time. I highly recommend. I've heard good things. I've heard it's also like a generic bad action movie that just happens to have like Santa Claus shit going on. I haven't watched it. At some point I will. Then again, maybe I'll just wait like 10 months and watch it next December or whatever. I don't really have a strong desire to watch it. But at some point, maybe I will when I get bored enough. All right. The next one comes from Nico Lord, why is Mel Gibson still sexy though? I don't know, man. I don't know. But I don't disagree. I don't disagree with you either. Sal says, "Hey John, Happy New Year. Do you think the Avatar movies or another movie for this matter will be able to top The Force Awakens' #1 spot at the domestic box office of all time?" I don't know if Avatar will be able to do it. Avatar domestically was never like it did well. Don't get me wrong, it made hundreds of millions of dollars, but it's always done better overseas. And sometimes when it comes to if you want to talk about business and marketing, sometimes that's fine if that's your business strategy. Why not cater to a larger population of people who will give you more of a box office return? I think it's all about IP. You know, America definitely was sort of the #1 IP fan base for something like Star Wars, so that makes sense. So I don't know. Maybe domestically, I could see like another Avengers movie or Spider-Man movie or something topping it, possibly. Until they reboot Star Wars, or not even reboot it, make another good Star Wars movie. But I don't know where you start with that even at this point. So other than a comic book movie, I don't see it happening anytime soon. I really don't. Achilles Hoplite? No question, but thanks for the super chat. I think you might have clicked super sticker, possibly. You got to make sure you click the super chat option where you can type in something. So just FYI. It's like Die Hard with Santa Claus. Yeah, that's exactly what I expected from Violent Night, but wouldn't you just rather watch Die Hard? That's my thing. When someone says, "Oh, it's like this movie," my question is, yeah, is it better? No? So I should just watch that movie. that's my mindset to it sometimes. We got one in here from 3C Films. How's it going, man? Chris, awesome guy on YouTube. How's it going, buddy? Thanks for the question. Let's dive into it here. Hey, John. I know you weren't a fan of Scream 5, so I'm curious for your thoughts on Scream 6. Did the trailer get you at all interested? Keep up the great work. Well, thanks for that, Chris. I know you're a huge Scream fan, which I do appreciate. Yeah, I said this earlier in the live show. I am excited about the new Scream movie simply because the change of location. You take it into the urban jungle, the concrete jungle of the city. Instantly, the new backdrop gets me way more excited because all the different gags and scenarios you can put Ghostface in, it's just more intriguing. Like, we've had the suburbs. I'm tired of seeing Ghostface hide in the upstairs closet. Okay, I get it. All right, I'm outside looking in at your window. No. I want to see him chase people on the subway. I want to see like an elevator sequence. I want to see like a sky rise. I want the movie to climax on the top of a skyscraper. Like Die Hard, you know, and that's the possibility we have with the new setting and location. So just for that simple fact, I think it'll be more entertaining that they're switching things up. I still want the character of Stu to return. I'm just putting it out there. I don't think he died when the TV fell on his head, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. The last one I just think was sort of like a crappy remake version or a hodgepodge of a few of the previous Scream movies, but not done as well as any of them. Like, it just didn't look cinematic to me. It looked like an MTV show or something. But the new one, I'm looking forward to it. I really am. And thanks for the question, Chris. You beautiful man, you. By the way, man, we should do something together. If you want to, let me know. Jack Malloy says, what? No, I think I missed a question here. Okay, Nike on One says, I saw Blade 2 the other night again. The movie makes absolutely no sense, and the CGI is horrendous, but I love it. Feels like Del Toro's demo reel. Blade 2, the CG in that movie, the best way you can describe that was they were using the physics of Stretch Armstrong meets Rubber Guy. Like, everything looks rubbery. Like, the way everyone's jumping around, they're moving like this and rubbery as shit. I don't know what was happening in that movie. Early 2000 CG. It's like, well, people won't think it's that bad looking, you know? So I get what you're saying. I still do enjoy Blade 2. I think the first one's the best, but and in a weird way, I sort of have a guilty pleasure love for Blade 3 Trinity. Oh, it's a piece of shit. I know it's a piece of shit, but I sort of like it. The next one comes from Jack Malloy. Hey, John. Did you get a chance to watch Andor? I did watch Andor, and I thought 90% of it was boring as shit. I thought 10% of it was entertaining. And my favorite aspect of the show of Andor was once he goes to prison and it becomes like an escape from prison movie, which I thought was really interesting. But my criticism with all of this was that prison escape scenario where that should have been introduced in the first like 3 episodes. Like by episode 3, he should have been in that prison and that whole storyline should have taken place earlier on. And I think that would have gained the attention of people to say, oh, this is something different. This is unique. This is like, I like that. And everything with that prison environment where he's stuck in reminded me of the movie Face Off, where Nicolas Cage goes to an underground prison where he has to wear special boots connected to a floor, which you could say they sort of borrowed the concept in Andor. But yeah, it just, for me, the biggest detriment to Andor is Andor himself. To me, he's sort of a boring character. He's like a good secondary character. But at the same time, it's like, well, you're going to die soon, so I don't care about you. So I don't know. I know some people liked it. I liked the tone of it. I do appreciate the more adult tone of it. It wasn't like Book of Boba Fett where it felt like Power Rangers on scooters. It felt like an adult series to some degree. And I think if they could take that tone and apply it to other properties that have more intriguing characters or compelling characters that you actually want to watch that are sort of dynamic and not fucking boring dudes like Andor, then you'll have a really compelling series. But when your main title character is just like a guy, here's a guy, you know, it didn't do much for me. John, which shark best describes your sex life? Do you remember? Has anyone seen the film called Santa Shark? Yeah, me neither. I don't know. I just feel like that would describe it. I haven't even seen the movie. I just saw the cover of it the other day. Pot of Plant Entertainment says Scream 5 is still better than 2 and 3. I wouldn't say it's better than 2. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't say it's better than 2. My favorite part of 2, though, is when Jada Pinkett Smith gets murdered in a theater. Just putting it out there. That was a beautiful scene. All right, you guys are killing it with the questions. All right, I was planning on going 10 minutes ago, but now you guys got me excited. See, good questions. Get me hyped up, and I'm ready to go. You just interjected another hour into me. Maybe not, but I'll try. All right, here we go, guys. I'm trying. Let me find a question here. Faisal H says, hey, John, which one you would be more excited for? Ari Aster's Bayou is afraid of Yorgos. I don't know what the fuck that. I don't know what you said there, man. That was another language. Lathimos, poor things. Maybe I can't read, but I can't. Are you afraid of Yorgos Lathimos, poor things? I don't know what that is. I wish I did. I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. It sounds interesting though. I'm sorry. Jack Malloy, I already answered this. Achilles Hoplite says, Avatar 2 proving the skeptics wrong by its success. It is very successful. It's making a lot of money. People want to see it. Now, I will say Avatar 2, in many ways for me, it was entertaining, but slightly a letdown, right? I was hoping for a little bit more than I got, and it felt like the stepping stone movie into the next movie, right? It felt like they made as simplistic of a story as they could, and there's nothing wrong with that, except this is Avatar. This is like one of the most expensive movies ever made, so you expect a little more spectacle. The first movie had more of an aerial fight by the end of the movie. This is more of a grounded base water fight, and that's fine. But for me, like Avatar 2 definitely felt like the battle before we get into the big war. It felt like, and I think there's even been information that's come out about this. With Avatar 2, they basically made like the first half of what could have been like another Avatar movie, but they took the first half of that Avatar film that could have been and just made a movie out of that. And that's how like Avatar 2 feels to me. It feels like, okay, that would have been like the first half of this movie, or maybe up until like the first 2 acts, but then it needed another third act to it. I don't know, but I still enjoyed it. I still gave it a positive review. I kind of praised the movie in a way, but I can see its faults and its flaws. But yeah, it did prove everyone wrong. It's making a shit ton of money. People want a visceral, immersive theater experience. People want a reason to go see a movie up on an 80-foot screen. And if you can just give them a reason to justify putting pants on, getting in their car, driving to a theater, they want to do it. I want to do it. Give me a reason to go there. And Avatar did that. You know, I think people enjoyed sitting there for 3 hours looking at it. But I will say this. I've been to a lot of theaters in the last couple of weeks since the film came out. And I see people in the theater watching the screen and they're glued to it. They enjoy it. But when they're walking out of the auditorium, it doesn't really feel like there's a lot of conversation going on about the movie. That's all I'm saying. I don't think it's going to stick with people. The next one comes from Clark Ingleton. How was Christmas and New Year's for you, John? Pretty good. No complaints. I had a cold around Christmas, so it wasn't that fun. I was a little tired, but no complaints. Have you seen Banshees of an Irishman yet? A dark comedy, rips your heart right out. Might be up your alley. I've heard good things. I have not watched yet. I've heard great things. I just have not got around to watching it yet. Sorry. Potted Plant Entertainment says Scream 5 is still better than 2 and 3. I already answered that. Claudia Rogajon says, clearly all the money for CG in Blade 2 went to the opening mouths of the Reaper vampires because it's the best CGI in the movie. Cool design. Yeah, it is. I liked when their mouths like open up and you see like 8 sets of teeth and things like that. Yeah, I mean, it was fine. But when they're jumping around, it just looks like a rubber guy bouncing around. The Caribbean Bookworm, thanks for the super chat, no question, but thank you. 1901 says, as I said before about Dredd, could it be possible to have Carl Urban's Dredd fighting Colonel Sanders and Ronald McDonald in a Mad Max wasteland? Maybe, I guess, if that's what you want to see. I don't know how they don't make a new Dredd movie. I don't understand how someone has not acquired the rights to that and got Carl Urban to come back. You could make a kick-ass Dredd movie for like $40 million. The fact that no studio has obtained the rights or even streaming service have obtained the rights or even to make an 8-part series about it, I don't understand how it's not happening. I don't get it. Like, it baffles my brain that has not happened yet. But either way, sure, yes. I would like to see Ronald McDonald fight Carl Urban. Yes, I would. Claudia Rojan says, which villain do you think is better, Deacon Frost from Blade 1 or Jared Nomak from Blade 2? Personally, I prefer Nomak? At least he had an actual motivation. Yeah, I never was a fan of the character Deacon Frost. He just sort of felt like a guy who sold like X at a nightclub or something, who was like, he didn't feel like a real villain to me. He was very blah. He felt like he should have been the villain's henchman at best, and not really the main villain to carry the movie, in my opinion. But yeah, I would agree with you. I think the secondary villain was way bigger in scope and tone and actually feel like more of a threat to Blade. Claudia Rojan, Edward Nito says, hey, John, do you have a favorite wrestling finisher? Oh, the Stunner, man. The Stone Cold Stunner or the RKO by Randy Orton. Either or two of those. Whenever you can have a finishing move come out of nowhere, boom, it's a shock. And that's always the best kind of finisher. But thank you for the question, Edward. Very generous super chat. Thank you so much, man. The Caribbean Bookworm says, you should definitely check out Puss in Boots 2. Now, I've heard great things about the movie, and I know people like it, and I'm sure it has a captivating, heartfelt story. Now let me talk as a 35-year-old man who loves movies like Toy Story. No matter how good Puss in Boots is, it's still a CGI cat doing things. And I have to be in the right mood to watch that. And with all of that said, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I watched Tangled last night for the 27th time. And I enjoyed that movie. I think Tangled is one of the most underrated Disney movies of all time. It's a great movie. So with all that said, at some point, maybe when it hits streaming, I'll watch Puss in Boots. But I can't go to the theater to watch Puss in Boots. I don't know why. I just can't do it. If I had kids or something, yeah, absolutely. But can't do it. A guy from Kings Highway says, watching Home Alone 2, the pigeon lady scene, and in a weird mood because I bought a place. I never really thought I could have accomplished that with my family when I was younger. That went two totally different directions, man. But congratulations on your new place. And the pigeon lady is utterly disgusting. And I refuse to talk about her because I'm going to respect my audience, my viewers. And I refuse to talk about the pigeon lady because I think if one of you are eating right now, I don't want to ruin your appetite with some homeless lady covered in bird shit. I'm sorry, I just did. Utterly disgusting. And Kevin says it best in the movie. As soon as he sees her, he goes, gross. And I agree. You want to give her a gift at the end of the movie, Kevin? You don't give her Christmas ornaments. Give her some cash. Let her go stay in a nice hotel and take a bath, okay? Lou says, and by the way, guy from Kings Highway, thank you for the question very much, man. And congrats on your new place, man. Lou says, the warehouse fight in Batman v Superman was better than the actual title fight. Absolutely. It really was. Like, in every way, that warehouse scene is what the main fight between Batman and Superman should have been, but they couldn't do it. And I knew at that point in the movie, when that sequence was done, I was like, they missed the mark on this one. And then 20 minutes later, you have fucking Doomsday showing up with strobe lights shooting out of his head, fighting everyone. It's just, I don't know. Like, but oddly enough, going back, when you watch Batman v Superman, do you sort of like vaguely forget that Doomsday shows up in the third act of the movie? Do you kind of like forget that happens? Sometimes I do. Like, I still like forget that whole thing happened. You're like, oh shit. And that happened. I think in a weird way, it was the biggest detriment to the movie because it overshadowed the title fight sequence of Batman v Superman. And it just tacked on way too much at the end. It tried to like appease everyone at the same time while sort of bastardizing the story that they should have been telling. It just glossed over too much stuff where you could have made 3 movies out of it. It's like they forgot about storytelling and went with the glam to say, oh, look, we did everything we could. It's going to make money. That's not, it just doesn't work that way. So yeah, Doomsday was just filler. Basically, yeah. They wasted what could have been an entire movie on a 20-minute sequence. That right there. In a weird way, I know there's going to be some hardcore Zack Snyder fans out there, but in a weird way, isn't Zack Snyder sort of to blame for the failures of the DCEU? I mean, just hear me out for a second. I love Man of Steel. I'll stand by it. I think Man of Steel is a good movie. Batman v Superman is not a good movie. But had a better screenplay been presented or maybe a different director attached to it, who knows what we would have by this point. Just like, imagine if Batman v Superman was the movie we wanted it to be. Just imagine. For 1 second, I mean it. Close your eyes. Imagine the best possible Batman v Superman movie brought to the big screen in live action. The DCEU would have went a completely radically different direction. And a better one. All right, the next one comes from Nick the Dick. Hey, John, I frequently go back and watch your older videos. My favorite is Night of the Chicken Sandwich. Also, the Pizza Night videos. Will we see any more videos like this in the future? I would like to do more vlogs, probably not like Night of the Chicken Sandwich, but I definitely could do more laid back movie night videos or vloggy videos. So yeah, yes, absolutely, man. I want to do more of those. I should start doing more of those. There's many of times where, and I think where I excel as a content creator is, I hate that term, but where I excel is on the fly, right? I feel like I can make like entertaining vlog videos that relate to movies better than I can make dedicated videos simply talking about movies. For me, and that's the type of videos I would rather watch. So do I want to do more vlog videos relating to movies? Absolutely. Does that mean more movie night videos? Absolutely. Because there's many of times where I'm just sitting there watching a movie and I'm just like thinking these thoughts in my head. I'm like, why don't I just like hold up a camera and talk right now and then put it down and shoot another clip in 5 minutes? So yes, I would like to do more vloggy style videos. Did you see the new Jackass movie that came out last year? Yes, I put out a review for it last year. Go check it out, man. I put out if you just search on my channel, my other channel, whatever you're looking for, it's probably there. Maybe. But for a fact, I did a review of Jackass. Itchy Elbow says, so tired of seeing The Rock in movies, he needs to take better roles and drop the ego. Yeah, unless The Rock can be the main character of an entire universe at this point, he doesn't want to star in the movie. And I wish he would star in more simplistic storylines, but I don't know if it's ego or something to prove, but it's just like, sorry to say, man, I feel like after Black Adam, I don't think a lot of people are going to want to utilize The Rock. I could see him starring in Kevin Hart movies and shit like that, or Jumanji Part 5, but I don't see like a lot of other big IPs wanting to get The Rock. I think at this point in time, yeah, everyone knows who The Rock is. People like The Rock, and he definitely has like a fan base. He's the most popular celebrity on the planet, I believe. But isn't it odd? And it's a scary thing when you look at it like this, with all The Rock's followers, on Instagram and Facebook or whatever, being the number one celebrity on the planet. Even with all that exposure and publicity and promotion, he still couldn't get a large portion of those followers to go watch his new big action comic book movie, which you would think 99% of his followers would want to see. That just tells me like things don't necessarily translate from one platform to another. I've noticed that nowadays more than ever. It's like I see people on TikTok that have like 8 million followers. And they also have a YouTube channel. And you go to their YouTube channel and they're getting like 7 views. And I'm like, see, just nothing makes sense anymore. So that's how I would like to, I don't know why I digress. Let's get back to the questions. Nick the Deek says, I know you still use a USB mic in your live videos. Have you ever thought about switching to an XLR? By the way, your voice is dope. Yeah, the thing is, don't get me wrong, I would like the XLR mic, but the thing is, unless you invest into a good sound mixer and then more third-party software and blah, 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 and you tweak all that shit to get it perfect, at the end of the day, I might get a sound that sounds 5% better than what I have now. For me, simplicity is the key, right? And when it comes to YouTube, you're still at the mercy of a certain bit rate with streaming software, so does it really matter? I don't know. Like the quality mic I use back there on my camera, it still plugs into my camera. This is a USB mic. Yeah. But I think it sounds more than sufficient for YouTube. I think this mic I use, I've heard some XLR mics and I would almost say, unless you have a really expensive one, I would say this Samson G-Track Pro mic is comparable. I think it has a very comparable sound to it. The next one comes from Faisal H, who says, Ari Aster has got a new movie coming out called Bayou is Afraid. I was curious to know if you care. Sorry for confusing you there. Let me look this up. I feel like Bayou is Afraid. All right, here we go. From Ari Aster. It's an upcoming American surrealist comedy horror written, directed by, comes out 2023. Okay. Yeah, I didn't know much about it. It's got Joaquin Phoenix in it. It's got Michael Gandolfini in it, which is interesting. Huh. I'll look into it, man. I don't know much about it though right now. But, by the way, thanks to all 381 of you watching right now. Thank you guys for that. What is today? Thursday? So, yeah, I guess this was a good time to do the live show. All right, let's keep going here. Itchy Elbow says, just watch They Live. Such a great flick. Well, I came here to chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. But what I do have left over are some Warheads Ooze Chews. This actually tastes like plastic. Like, this tastes like someone went to the factory, and when they were injection molding for, I don't know, butt plugs, all the extra plastic that came off the mold, they picked up off the factory floor, sprinkled some sour dust on it, and put it in a package and sold it. But I really do enjoy them. All right, the next one comes from... sorry for that. Night King 01 says, those Dread rights are so entangled at this point, it's ridiculous. Someone please make a Dread miniseries. Also, the 95 movies a guilty pleasure. I am the law. I agree. My favorite scene in Dread 1995 is when they escape from the prison plane and they're in the cannibals' cave lair. Hey, Paul! And they want to eat them, and there's like a giant robot guy. Just like weird. I love it. Jesus Salcido says, how many edibles do you take per serving? Usually I get like the 25 milligram or 35 milligram ones. You eat half of it. Just, you're good to go, man. That's all I need. And it makes movies so much more immersive. You feel like you take it more serious. Lou says, what if Batman 2 took the same approach as The Raid or Dread, simple but intense? Absolutely. That's what I would love to see. I would love to see Batman completely like using what he has on him to survive a certain situation. You know what? I think the better example almost would be, imagine Escape from New York, but with Batman in it. Truly trying to survive this dire situation with only his wits and the gadgets that he has to get by. I think, and don't get me wrong, at some degree, Batman always is doing that, but what I just said is something I would like to see. That's what I wanted to see happen in John Wick 3. I wanted to see John Wick in this city surrounded by assassins trying to survive. And like he did that for 7 minutes, and then he went off into the desert and started talking to Halle Berry. But anyway, what you said, I agree with. That's what I would like to see in a new Batman movie. Sort of like, yeah, like the Dread movie. You're stuck in one location trying to survive. I get it. If like the half that movie was just that, I think that would work too. And the thing that would lend itself perfectly to that situation with Batman would be an Arkham movie. Batman is stuck in Arkham Asylum, or he has to stay in Arkham Asylum because if he leaves, maybe something dire will happen, you know? So he has to stay there until he solves the problem, which would give a good excuse to keep him contained within the building. But yeah, either way, that would also work very well. Sort of like Die Hard meets Batman, but in Arkham Asylum. So I think we could all agree would like to watch that shit. A guy from Kings Highway says, John, take another drink of your Zoa because your throat's dry. Okay, I will. So delicious. Okay, I was listening to your old videos today while working. Now watching the future you now doing the same thing is so trippy. You know, I'll tell you something even more trippy. Sometimes I have like, I had like these existential thoughts, and sometimes when I watch myself on YouTube or I watch a live stream of myself, I'm like watching myself, but I'm trying to watch myself not like I know who that is. Like I'm trying to like cut off the umbilical cord and disassociate myself from the guy on the screen. I'm just trying to watch it like a third party viewer, like one of you do. And I'm like watching myself and I'm like, oh God, like, why did you say it like that? You sound so stupid. And then other times I'm like, oh, that was comedy gold. Good job, man. It's kind of a weird, bizarre thing to watch yourself on YouTube. It's really weird. It's a weird thing to do it. You're either so unaware or so self-unaware, or you're overly self-aware. It's one of those two things, because if you become too self-aware, you'll never actually make any content. But if you're super self-unaware or unaware of like how you are, then it's just, it's a weird line you got to ride all the time. But thank you for that. A guy from King's Highway also says, I can confidently say I take The Rock and Dave Bautista in a fight. You can take The Rock and Dave Bautista in a fight? I don't know about that, man. They got a lot of muscle mass and a lot of height. They could just fall on you and probably win that battle. But hey, nevertheless. Wade's Movie World. Hey, John, did you like the 2017 Power Rangers movie, or do you want to see a new movie that is more like the TV show? I was never really a big Power Rangers fan. Even as a kid, never really got into it. Now, the 2017 movie I thought was okay, and I can't lie to you, by the third act of that movie, when the music kicked in, it gave me goosebumps. That is one TV score that will always get me hyped up. It'll make me feel like I did a line of cocaine, and I can do a backflip, a cartwheel, and it's morphin' time, baby. But the Power Rangers theme song, you're feeling a little tired, you want an upper? Listen to that shit. I'm telling you, man. All right, the next one comes from Guy from King's Highway. Do you think Patrick Swayze's character in Roadhouse smoked the Zaza cannabis? He was a very cool and chill dude. I don't know if he did, but he liked to meditate. So I would say that. And by the way, I'm looking forward to the new Roadhouse movie starring Jake Gyllenhaal. It could be a good time. Willie Play says, what's your opinion on Rise of the Beast? The new Transformers movie? Well, it's directed by the same guy who directed Creed 2, which I'm not really a huge fan of his style. I feel like he kind of has like a music video style, which we talked about previously in this live show. That could have been 2 hours ago for all I know. I'm glad that Michael Bay is not attached to it. I think it's going to be interesting, but instantly forgettable, you know? Like the last the Bumblebee movie, I think it'll be maybe as good, if not worse. So if that's any like bar to jump over, I don't know. At this point, the Transformers thing, I think I'm just like mentally exhausted. I'm done. Like we've seen it. Like at this point, it's just like a rehash of a rehash. That's where I'm at with it. But the fact that they turn into animals changes everything. No. Not only are they robots that turn into cars, now they're robots that turn from apes to cars. What do you think about that? I don't know. I'll check it out. Guy from King's Highway says, oh my God, I need to talk faster. You guys are killing it with the questions. I will try to talk faster. Here we go. Guy from King's Highway, movie idea. Live streamer who keeps staying up because they're getting super chats and it becomes a whole Nolan-esque commentary on the modern world. That could be a thing. I had an idea for a movie. I wanted to maybe, like if it was ever a short film, I think it could work. I wanted to make a movie. And by the way, this is all copyrighted content. If you take it, I will sue you. I wanted to make a movie about a guy who was a YouTuber, but he also had like another life outside of that, like completely contrast, different lifestyle, right? Like imagine YouTube meets Nightcrawler meets American Psycho. But in that seediness of his life, there is like a YouTube / content creation element to it. And I'll just leave it off there. But I had a glorious idea. And you could make a movie out of it, but it was just like a short film idea I had. Like if you wanted to make like a 15-minute long movie. And I thought it would be really interesting. A little bit dark. The thing is, it would go from like PG-13 to like X, rated X. So I don't know. But it's actually a story of my life. It's the biographical story of my life. Itchy Elbow says, thoughts on Escape from New York? Love that shit, man. Probably if I had to pick a rewatchable John Carpenter movie, it'd probably be Escape from New York. Like I love Halloween, but rewatchability wise, I think I could rewatch Escape from New York more. I just love that nighttime movie. I love the character Snake Plissken. I like the score, that synthy sounding 80s score. And just the movie looks beautiful to me. I love it. It's everything I want from that type of movie. And I wish more movies sort of had that same vibe, you know? It's not overly polished. It's kind of dirty and nasty, and it's just You feel like you're in that abandoned New York City with Snake Plissken when you watch it. You know, the element of isolation and like no hope is there. So yeah, I love it. I love it. Now, Escape from LA, that's another story. Phantom Film says, Kick-Ass or Zombieland? Oh, Kick-Ass by far. I like Zombieland, I really do. And this might be a super unpopular opinion. I loved Zombieland. And I don't want to sound like a male misogynistic pig. I'm not. But after the first act of Zombieland, when they encounter Little Miss Sunshine and the two girl Emma Stone or whatever, I feel like the movie is less interesting to me. I liked it when it was just Columbus and Tallahassee teaming up to go on this like road trip. And once they team up with the two ladies, it just sort of like bogged it down a little bit for me. I don't know. But I love the first act of that movie. The first act is phenomenal. But Kick-Ass, I would say I like Kick-Ass. I love Kick-Ass. I think Hit Girl's a phenomenal character. Claudia Rogojan says, The Rock wanted the whole DCU to revolve around Black Adam. Why he was only made an anti-hero because of The Rock. What a waste of a cool villain. Yeah, absolutely. They rode the line right in the middle, right? And when you do that, you try to appease everyone while appeasing no one. That's the problem with movies nowadays. We're afraid to offend 3 people, so what do? We water down our movie to appease everyone, but meanwhile, no one really likes it or cares about it or will remember it in 2 days because you didn't push any boundaries. So yeah, I agree with that. I think they should have just been like, hey, Rock, I know you want to be the main centerpiece to this, and maybe like 10 years ago, that could have worked, but it doesn't at this point. Like, comic book movies have evolved to a different echelon. And I feel like it was just a bad casting choice. Whenever you have an actor who wants that much creative power over a character that's already pre-established, that's not a good match. And you shouldn't go that route. The next one comes from Lou. Watch Brazil or Blue Velvet better than Blowout. Yeah, I liked Blowout, but I could never watch it again. Blue Velvet has been on my to-do list for like 2 years. I'm getting there. I promise you. I have watched a few movies this year I never watched, so I'm slowly but surely going down the list. It's on there, man. Claudia Rojan says, hey, his name is Mean Machine Angel, the robot hillbilly from Judge Dredd 1995. Mean Machine Angel? Did you know that or did you look that up? If you fucking knew that, man, you're crazy. But now I'll never forget it. Mean Machine Angel. That's beautiful. But I'm sure you got that from the comics. Fan of Film says, better actor, Kevin Bacon or Crispin Glover? I just think because Kevin Bacon's been in more movies, I'd probably go with him. And Crispin Glover just always feels like a weird guy in every movie. He just always plays like a weird dude. I would say Kevin Bacon probably has more range from the roles he's played. So I'd lean towards Kevin Bacon on that one. You can't go wrong with the Bacon, man. Claudia Rogojan says, also, one more thing about Black Adam. Why would him and Superman fight? He states he wants to be a protector, so why do they have to fight at all? Well, comic book logic. Rather than have a 3-second conversation to resolve our differences, what we'll do is fight each other and punch each other, and then at the last 5 seconds, we'll say, oh, but I'm a good guy too. Me too. And then we'll become friends and we'll fight a bigger threat. That is the formula. Or they both have the same mother that has her name's Martha, and then they become buddies. I don't know. Fan of Film says, did you watch the Evil Dead Rise trailer? I have not. I'm trying to avoid it. I just haven't watched it yet. MKF30 says, what's the better series, Underworld or Riddick? Both to me are similar because when it comes to the Underworld movies, I only watched like the first couple. And when it comes to the Riddick movies, I watched like technically Pitch Black was like the first time Riddick was introduced. And then I watched whatever the last one that came out was in 2013. So I don't really like either of them. To be honest with you, I don't really care for either of them. I would say maybe I don't know. I'd have to ask somebody who likes both of those which one they prefer. But for me, I don't like either. I would never go back and rewatch any of the movies. Nico Lord says, I feel sad. I finally watched Henry Cavill on the big screen in Black Adam only to have it be for the last time ever. You and me both, man. I thought they were coming back with Cavill as Superman. I listened to a couple podcasts where he's like, yeah, I'm coming back. And then they're just like, nah, we're going to go a different direction here. But the way they're going with the DCEU, like they're keeping certain pre-established characters that have been in other movies, but they're getting rid of some other. I don't know what James Gunn is doing. I really don't have much faith in what he's doing, but at least they're trying something new, which is, I guess I can give him credit for that. The next one comes from Lou, who says, hope the new Superman puts the evil god trope to rest. At this point, he has to be as cool as Homelander, but with the best intentions. Yeah, I get that. But there's always going to be that argument, though. It doesn't matter. In reality, the same argument would apply. If some superpower dude came here, it's like, well, he could just get mad at us one day and destroy us. So there's always going to be that hesitation to truly embrace him. Like, we hope for the best, but you also have to prepare for the worst when it comes to a character like Superman. And you can't, and us as a society, or at least as like an American society, we trust no one. And if someone has too much power, we don't like it. We got to figure that shit out and be in control of it. So I think the same real life thing would apply to a character like Superman. If anything, that's the most realistic element of Superman. But I understand the trope that you're mentioning. I just hope they don't focus on it too much in a story. Yeaman John says, have you ever seen the notorious box office bomb Heaven's Gate? The movie is responsible for ending golden phase of new wave Hollywood in the 1970s. Heaven's Gate. I have heard of this being a huge movie. Oh, the big religious movement. Yes. What the fuck is this? Huh. I need to look into this now. Oh, it was like a cult? Interesting. I will look into this. Sounds interesting. I see a creepy old guy staring at the camera. So now you sold me. I haven't, but I will. Claudia Rogojan says, last thing about Black Adam. I found it funny that they tried to make Black Adam sound like a villain, even though he does kill bad people. I never for 5 seconds got the vibe that Black Adam was a bad guy in Black Adam. Not for 3 seconds. Never. He just felt like a cool, edgy, good guy. That was it. Like, he wasn't a Boy Scout, but at the same time, he wanted to do the right thing. So maybe he had a bit of a conflict in his own thought process for 7 minutes in the movie. But other than that, yeah, I'd never even thought of him as like a conflicted guy or a conflicted character in the movie. Faisal H says, did you watch any foreign films in 2022? Probably. Was Everything Everywhere All at Once considered a foreign film? Or was that a completely American-esque film? I don't know. Let's see. Foreign films of 2022. RRR was a really good foreign film I didn't see. Everyone told me to watch. I haven't watched it yet. Let's see. Triangle of Sadness I didn't watch. I didn't see this list. I did not see. Let's see some of the other international films. I started watching All Quiet on the Western Front, which I technically is considered a foreign film. No, I didn't see it. EO. Yeah, I don't know. We'll go to the next question. All right, the next one comes from Claudia Rogojan. I think people are tired of the whole evil God thing because it's been done for years. Even an episode of Justice League did it. So tired. I mean, but aren't all gods in one sense or another going to be evil at some point when they get tired of us weaklings suckling at their teat? All right. I think that's a good place to end the live show. Someone said Big Daddy Flickinger. Well, thank you for that. Claudia Rojan also says, also, when are you going to do a member stream? I want to do a member stream. I also want to co-host, but I was thinking instead of just a member stream, we could all watch a movie together. I think that would be good too. So I'd rather just pick a movie that we can all watch as members together. And then we can talk during the movie or whatever, bring some popcorn and have like a movie night together. And maybe I'll record it and put it on YouTube. Maybe, I don't know. But I could do I could do some commentary in the movie as we watch it. I could take a vote on which movie you want to watch. My only thing is I'll probably pick a movie that's on Netflix so the majority of people have access to it, and then try to watch it together and figure that out. So whenever I can figure that out, that's when we'll do another member live stream. And also I want to see your guys' faces when we do it. So how's it going, Joey? Claudia Rogajan says, but Superman was raised by a human. Yes, he was. What in regards was that to? I don't know what that was in regards to. Not becoming an evil god at some point? I don't know. That was the only thing stopping him from becoming an evil god, was that grounded father relationship. Tubi is another good option for free movies. Yeah, but I feel like more people have Netflix than they have Tubi. Plus, Tubi has ads, so that might get really annoying. You know what I mean? To watch it together. Farrell Lovely says Inception. Yes, what we're going to do is rewatch Inception together, and I'm going to pinpoint everything that I think is why it's a dream. Or maybe I'll just pinpoint some of the lackluster writing by Christopher Nolan that just felt like it made no sense whatsoever. You know, like his crazy psycho wife who went to 12 therapists to prove that she wasn't clinically insane. Oh, okay. So let's see. Your wife who you're accused of murdering went to 12 psychiatrists to prove she wasn't clinically insane. Well, there's no red flags here. I think we're case closed. Just silly nonsense. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up the live show there. We've been talking for over 2 hours now. I'm tired. I'm going to go eat. Look out for a Megan movie review tomorrow over on the Flickpick channel. And I might put up a quick first reaction video here on this channel that I shot in the movie theater lobby after. It's like 3 minutes long. If you want to see that, let me know. Maybe I'll post it. But either way, guys. And by the way, Joey Ruiz, Lord of the Rings says, hey, Johnny, where's the whale review? Laugh aloud. Really enjoyed the movie. It's in my top 10. I will probably talk about it in depth in that top 10 video, just to let you know. At this point, I feel like if I put out a review for The Whale, not many people are going to watch it. I wish I would have saw it sooner than I did. But I really did enjoy that shit. If it was me, I would have been eating Sour Patch Kids on that couch. Just putting it out there. You want to carb up, eat some Sour Patch Kids. American Psycho's on Netflix. Ooh, we could watch that together. That would be fun. Yeah, I'll put a poll out for YouTube members and Patreon members. I'll put like 5 movies on there and we'll vote on them. How's that? Yes, Twister comes out this summer. Hopefully it's good. In my movies I was covering, I just picked the big IP movies just to make it simple because there's 800 movies coming out. And I will do a most anticipated movies video at some point. Leviathan says, I acknowledge you, John. Well, I acknowledge all of you. All right. Yeah, thanks, Nico. Have a good night. All right, guys, have a good night. Thanks for watching. Much appreciated. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the questions. And thanks for watching. Thank you so much. Because without you guys, I ain't shit. I'm just a dude screaming alone in his room talking about movies. So thank you guys. Have a safe night. And if you liked this live show and you want to stick it to the man and the algorithm, give this shit a thumbs up. Please, if you could. You don't have to. But if you wanted to, I'd appreciate it. Take care, guys. Have a good night. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.